It is now time to test the Metro-North M1A. Cross your fingers. Let's see what it looks like so far. So far, so good. Wait, where are the running numbers? What's going on with that? Only the first two of them are appearing. And on the side, only the first one is appearing. The other ones... that's weird. That's weird. When I tested them on the computer I used to create it, the numbers were working. I don't know why they're not appearing right now. And another problem is the floor appears to be transparent, even though it's supposed to be opaque. I don't know what's causing that. Look at that. You can see right through the floor and see the bogies and parts of the undercarriage. Some of the faces are straight up missing. The door is visible through the door housing. I don't know what's causing that. I don't know why the running numbers look like that. I just placed the locomotive on the track on my test track to get a closer look at it. My hope is that maybe those glitches only exist in the preview asset, and when you place it on the track in the game, it's okay. But sadly, that's not the case. The floor is still transparent for some reason. I don't know why. And the running numbers still aren't appearing, even though they appeared on the old laptop that I used to create the locomotive. I don't know what could be causing that. And of course, some of the faces are missing. Look at that, you can see the bogie right through the floor. What's causing this? Well, obviously I can't release it to the download station like this, but let's give it a test run anyway, just to see if there's anything else wrong with it. Alright, I just placed a second locomotive on the track to test the spacing of the couplers. The spacing seems okay. Still trying to figure out why that texture is transparent when it's supposed to be opaque. And there also appears to be a hole in the wall over here. Okay, I'm really confused because on the laptop the settings are in medium mode and the textures and the walls appear correctly, and I don't see any holes in any of the meshes, but then when you up the settings, pieces of the mesh are missing. I don't know what could cause that. And the running number is not appearing as well, because they were appearing perfectly in with medium settings. Now, part of the reason I'm making this video is to provide more context of the specific problems I'm having, so that when I ask for help online, hopefully we can get to the problem faster. I'm still not sure what can cause there to be faces missing when you up the settings in the game, even though they weren't missing in medium settings. I'm not even really sure if it's this computer that's causing the problem or not. I gave it the subway cab because the controls look similar. Plus, I didn't want to be bothered with the burden of having to create a new cab and then have a lot of issues occurring when I try to export it, like I had when trying to export the bogie. Apparently, there is no sitting mesh for the drivers. There's only a standing mesh, so there's not very much I can do about that. Oh my goodness, you can see the seat right through the wall. That's not supposed to happen. You can see the passengers through the seats too. That's also not supposed to happen. And it didn't happen on the other laptop that I was testing this on. I don't know what could cause this. Look at that. You can see right through the floor and see the bogies. Look at that. When you move the camera, it messes up too. And you can see the electronics underneath the floor. Well, let's check and see if the door animations work. At least that has to work, right? Okay, we're gonna open the right doors. Okay, the doors work, but they're visible through the door housing, so that's another problem I have to fix. Not sure what's wrong with it though, because like I said, it was visible in the other computer that I was testing this on. I don't know what happened here. That doesn't look right at all. Alright, does the closing animation work? Well, there's at least that. Let's check the left doors. Alright, they open as well. But again, they're visible through the housing, which was not my original plan. Man, that looks terrible. Alright, test the closing animation. Well, they're closing correctly. Somewhat. There's some more doors. Alright, the bogies were giving me trouble earlier, so let's test them. Okay, this time they're moving just like they're supposed to. That's a relief. And they're not colliding with the brake shoes like they were doing earlier. Well, at the very least, the head and tail lights work. I wish I knew why the inner walls of the train were transparent, though. They're supposed to be solid. Let's get a closer look at the couplers, shall we? I'm gonna go out on a limb and say you can't walk between these train cars while it's in motion. I'm reopening the train in Blender on my old laptop to see if there's possibly anything I missed in exporting that may have caused it to not appear correctly. You'll notice that the numbers are on the side of the locomotive in Blender the way they should be displaying. They also display properly on my old laptop, so I don't know why they're not displaying on the new gaming PC. And you'll notice that the floor is solid and it's opaque, and you cannot see the bogies through it, so I don't know what's wrong. I didn't do anything different than how I normally make lighthouses for this game, so I'm not sure why it's not importing correctly. So far I haven't had any major issues when importing lighthouses that I've made, so I don't know what I'm doing wrong. Okay, I'm checking to see if I saved it correctly, because maybe I made a mistake when exporting. Who knows? Alright, file, export as a .fbx file, delete the original to replace it, negative y equals forward, z equals up. I don't know why, but for Trainz, negative y has to be forward for it to work. I usually use y equals forward when exporting lighthouses because it makes it easier to animate them, but for Trainz it has to be negative y equals forward or it'll instantly derail. Still, I have no idea why that is the way it is. Anyway, I'm going to delete the original .fbx file and .trainz mesh file and re-import it. Alright. I'm going to rename it M1A. Okay, now I'm going to submit the changes. Hopefully it doesn't give me one of those failed to access file errors again, because those things are really annoying and I don't have time to deal with them right now. It takes a long time to submit things that were made in Blender for some reason. Okay, there's still some errors, but they don't trigger any errors in the game, so I'm not really sure what to do about them. There's also nothing on the Trainz wiki about these specific errors, so I don't know what they mean. Plus, they give you absolutely zero clues as to what part of the mesh caused those errors, so you have no idea which part of the mesh you would have to fix to get rid of that error. Anyway, Again, this is my old laptop we're looking at. The numbers appear correctly on this laptop for some reason, and not on the gaming PC. I'm still not sure why that is, though. You'll also notice that there is no hole in the wall, and that the interior is not transparent, so you can't see the bogies through the floor. So I don't know what's wrong with it. I already tried solidifying the faces and that didn't work, so I'm going to try to triangulate them. When making the Currituck Beach Lighthouse, I noticed that there were some random holes in the exported tower after carving some sections to make windows. So after triangulating the tower, those holes went away. So maybe that'll help with this train as well. This section wasn't working earlier either, so I'm going to try triangulating that as well, though I'm pretty sure it's already triangulated. Well, you can never have too many triangles, I guess. Well, I mean, you can. Too many triangles will slow down the game. Maybe subdivide it a little bit. I don't know. I'm really just guessing as I go along. Now, I don't think these sections of the walls are giving me any problems, but I'm going to triangulate them anyway. Usually if it's just a simple square or rectangle, it doesn't need to be triangulated to work in the game. It's usually only the complicated shapes. Exactly why that is beyond my knowledge. Now, at one time I thought maybe I might have made the texture transparent by accident, but as you can see, it says opaque on the bottom right there, so it's definitely an opaque texture. Alright, now that I have all the inner wall surfaces selected, I'm going to try triangulating them to see if that's why they weren't appearing correctly in the gaming PC compared to the gaming laptop, which for some reason it did appear correctly. I'm still not sure why that's the case. Why would something appear correctly on one computer but not in the other? Okay, now I'm going to select all of the surfaces that are required to make up this door housing, because as you could see earlier, the door was visible through it. Still not sure why, because it's not a transparent texture. I have selected every shape required to make the door housings, so let's triangulate them and maybe that'll fix the problem. I don't know, because I'm not an expert and I'm just guessing as I go along. I mean, they were working perfectly fine on this laptop. I don't know why they're not working on the gaming PC. Okay, now I'm going to re-export it again. Hopefully this time it works. Alright, one thing I forgot to do was try to triangulate the number boards. I mean, I usually don't triangulate them, and I've never had to do this before, especially not with that fictional train that I've made in the past, but just in case. Honestly, I don't know what I'm doing differently, because I do have a fictional train on the download station with running numbers, and I tested it on the other computer and it wasn't giving me any issues like this. The numbers were appearing perfectly, so I don't know why they're not appearing now. Alright, now I'm trying to triangulate these number boards as well. Again, I haven't had to do this in the past, but I'm just trying everything I know how to do and hoping that one of these will fix the problem. These extremely vague errors still show up, but they don't trigger any errors in the game, so I'm still not entirely sure if they're related to the problem, and if so, I don't know how to solve that. But the numbers are still appearing on the gaming laptop. It's only the gaming PC that I'm having issues with. When I run this train on the gaming PC, the numbers don't appear, and I don't know why. There shouldn't be anything wrong with the numbers. Alright, I'm gonna take a break from this train because it's giving me way too much frustration right now. After I can get some answers, maybe I'll come back to it.